Welcome to Video Game Rescue. My name is Dustin. This is the final episode of Video Game Rescue. I know it's been a while since we've been on air, and there's several reasons behind that. And for those of you that don't know, uh, shortly after Midwest Gaming Classic, Kevin, aka Sega Ages, passed away of a heart attack. Um, I'm sorry if this is a bit of a shocker to some of the listeners that don't typically follow us on social media and stuff like that, but we've taken some time off. I'm sure a lot of you understand why. Kevin was an integral part of Video Game Rescue. So what I'm going to do this last episode is I'm going to talk a little bit about our last adventure and some of the fun we had at Midwest Gaming Classic, and I'll even share some of Kevin's final items that he bought that he yeah, well, I'll get to it. Well, Midwest Gaming Classic 2014. Super excited about this one. This was the second time that Kevin and I were going to be meeting up at a convention, and this isn't the first time Kevin and I had met in person. If you know, we met at a previous convention. He'd come down to my store whenever I was opening up, and so when we really knew each other this time, and we actually had that conversation prior to the event. We had joked around, saying, we actually know each other this year. We're gonna have a lot more fun. We can actually kind of loosen up and really have fun. Let me move the microphone here so you guys can hear me. Let's make sure we're on the right microphone too. That always helps, right? Snowball. All right. Well, okay. Well, I first went to Chicago before I went to Midwest Gaming Classic, and I typically walk around and do some game hunting in Chicago, and I did find some games. Unfortunately, I did. Excuse me. I'm still getting over being sick. That's part of this last 2 weeks too, and I'll get to that. Well, I did pick up a TurboGrafx game while I was up in Chicago at People Play Games. There's a really cool shop up there, so if you are in the Chicago area, go ahead and check them out. Really nice guys in there. Met the owner. We talked a little bit of business, the video game business and such. But I digress. It was I think it was like Spike something volleyball. It was like $2.99, and I was like, I can't pass this up. I don't have it in the collection. I might as well go ahead and pick it up. I grabbed that, and while I was there, he also had a King Griffey Jr. Presents demo cartridge. And I tried to find it before I came on the air, but these last 2 weeks, 3 weeks have been a bit of a blur for me. I know it's here. I have one of my other demo cartridges that I want to show you guys, but I guess this is it. Yeah, nope, well, not it. Anyways, I only picked up those two games, and not very much in while I was in Chicago, because I was saving the majority of my money when I went to Midwest Gaming Classic. So I stayed in Chicago up until Friday afternoon, and then I drove up and met Kevin at the hotel, and then we promptly went there. We met one of our other friends in the arcade area and hung out with a bit. I think it was Kyle that we met, and then we went from there. We went straight to the hotel room. We dropped off our stuff, and then we went to the vendor area because we knew several of the vendors there. Kevin had some friends that were setting up there, so we got access before anybody else did, which was really cool. And that way, we were able to just basically pretty much just grab what we wanted and buy it the first day whenever we saw it. So whenever we got there, Kevin took me to his friend's room, and we're sitting there looking around, and I see a Action 52. And I was like, hey, yeah, that's going to be coming home with me. And I grabbed it immediately. Didn't even ask what the price was. And I turned to, kind of looking at the cartridge, bam, right on top, $150 for it. I'm like, oh, $150 for an Action 52? Yes, this is it's my dream come true. So I talked to the guy, and I went ahead and bought that. And I actually bought a couple other things from the guy. I bought a Earthworm Jim 2. Bought this for $10 from him, and picked up a couple of Sega Genesis games, which were actually for the store, so I'm not really going to show those. A bunch of just kind of games to fill out the store selection instead of just having a bunch of sports games in the store. Well, I got the Action 52, and as I'm doing that, Kevin is talking to another vendor behind me, and he actually ends up picking up Sonic Adventure Limited Edition. For most of you don't know, it was a limited release game that was only released at I want to say it was, Kevin knew the story better than I did. He told me the story. Um, it wasn't Blockbuster, but it was Hollywood Video, I do believe, and the two rental companies had different copies. One company only had the disc only, and it had the sticker on top of it that said, Hollywood Video or whatever, and the other one had the full copy, which would have the case in the game. Well, Kevin got a hold of these games, and these games were only released before the actual Dreamcast was released. So you could rent the console and Sonic Adventure, and this was this limited edition that you could rent and play. Well, basically, it's the same game. It just says limited edition on it. And the game is rather rare. Price, varies pretty drastically because I don't think a lot of people know the difference in the rarity behind the game. It's typically why I think it's not going as high as it possibly could have been. Well, Kevin picked that up, and he was very proud of himself. And I wish I had that here, but I have it at the store. I've been sharing that with other people as they come in, and some of the other things that we've done. But Kevin and I made some really cool trades as well. We were rather proud of one. Kevin and I kind of teamed up on a vendor. I walked up and started looking at a couple of things, and he was right there with me. And he starts looking at a couple of things, and we start making a pile of games that we want. And excuse me, I'm still getting over the mung that I got, con mung. Well, we started making this pile of games. And then I look at the guy, I'm like, hey, we're making a pile here. Can you work us a deal? And he's like, I don't know. And we start piling more games on top of it. So we probably, I think we had like maybe 6 or 7 games, maybe more. And Kevin turns around and makes an offer. Hey, how much for this? How about this for the stack? And the guy goes, well, and the guy counters. And then I pop in and I go, hey, how about this? And then and we countered him some more, even lower. So we ended up saving about $30 on the stack of games that otherwise I think we'd have paid a lot more combined to get these games. And that was just a really cool, fun story that with Kevin. I will always remember that with Kevin because he was so excited, after we left because we both were. We were like, oh man, we just really scored out. We made out like bandits. He goes, we should do this more often. And they team up on these. I said, that's what I was saying. We should team up on all these vendors. Buy what we want, obviously, but get it at the price that we want. Excuse me, I do apologize again. Let's see some of the games that I got in that little deal. Was another Double Dragon game for the Genesis. It was Double Dragon 3, the arcade game. Love the artwork. Check this guy out. Powerful mullet. Powerful 80s hair. It's complete in box. And it's something I have actually never seen in Jacksonville. So I don't know how many of these are roaming around my city. So this is what the guy wanted. This was one of the games that was in the stack that we definitely didn't pay that. Let's see, what else did I grab from this guy? Grabbed a Kid Chameleon from, I think, the vendor next to him. Oh, yeah. These are the other two that I grabbed. Robo Kid. Shmup. You see on the back here. I've had a regular copy of this, and I really enjoyed the game. So I want to go ahead and just get the full copy. I think that's what I've been doing lately is the Sega Genesis games that I like. I go back and get the copy in the book, or the case in the book. I mean, the Universal cases are really cool and everything, but a full original case for Genesis is so much cooler. And they're still pretty cheap. And I mean, it's not like Nintendo stuff is going crazy expensive right now. And last but not least, Lemmings Tribe 2. I had the first one. No, this is not what I paid. But it's another complete in-box copy. This one I hadn't played yet. The second one. And I really like the Lemmings game. It's just a bit of a challenge. But those are some of the games that I picked up. Let me see. I have Kevin's things here. Before Kevin left, he was very adamant about me sending the games, or him sending the games home with me, and me sending them to him, mailing to him. Either he didn't want to carry it, maybe he had an extra bag. He didn't have an extra bag, but maybe he just didn't want to carry it. I don't know. He was very adamant about it. So I have his games here that he got at Midwest Gaming Classic. Here's Kevin's bag. And for those of you that guessed, it was a this bag is from Grand Theft Auto Limited Edition, which came in like a little lockbox with a key. Here's the bag from Kevin's Limited Edition copy of that. Kevin got a couple of things. I don't remember exactly what he got at this vendor, but I'm pretty positive this was it. We got a Mortal Kombat 3. Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate, or Limited, what is it? Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. It's the one in the cardboard case. He didn't have that copy, so I know he was excited about that. But I know after he had opened it up, it looked like the box had been crushed a little bit. It was a little deceiving. So whenever you see these games in these like soft cases inside of a one of the hard cases, make sure you open it up before you go ahead and buy the game, because last thing you want is to take it home and open it up like Kevin did and realize that the game is in the condition that you wanted it to be in. Well, he also picked up the Minister box, because this was the last game he needed for the Toe Jam and Earl series, which I guess now will become the last one I needed for my Toe Jam and Earl series, because I want to Kevin's things. Kevin never sold any of his video games, so it's important to me that none of these get sold. So these will stay with me, and I will guard my friends' goodies forever. But he also picked up Heavy Nova. Kevin knew that this game wasn't any good. Kevin knew, and he was like, "Man, this game is horrible, but I still want it. I gotta have it." So he went ahead and picked it up. I think he only paid a couple dollars for it, or maybe like I think $2 or $3 because it was in the complete case. And these two here. Oh, this one I know he got part of that deal. Was Mega Turrican, was the last game that he got out of that deal that he didn't buy separately. And Mega Turrican, that was a good one, man. It's pretty hard. We played this actually on. Well, I'll get to that in a bit. But Mega Turrican. But yeah, that one's, I think, is missing the manual. Yeah, and the cart isn't in the greatest condition. But it's about playing the games, you know, and having them. So, and sometimes whenever you have rips and tears like that on games, it gives it character. It becomes your game, and you know that's your game. And if you have just a mint box copy, I mean, yeah, that's cool and it's great to have, but there's no story behind it, you know. And having that label, it probably had like a Blockbuster label on there, somebody trying to rip off. But Kevin found this Ranger X. This was one of the last Sega Genesis games that he bought. Let me double check that statement. Yeah, and it was Ranger X. And I think he was actually going to be doing this for Shmup Central. This was one of the last games that he was going to do. And I mean, that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll do that for him and play through it and do a Kevin style Shmup one for just one last time for him. But that's all the Sega Genesis stuff that he added. He did add a couple more games. You know, Kevin was an avid Sega collector, so one of the other things he grabbed that day was a bunch of Dreamcast games. He got a lot of them on sale. The last day is always the best day to pick up things at cons because, you know, people want to dump stuff off. They don't want to take that stuff home, and they like to go ahead and make the money that they wanted. So Kevin got quite a few. Actually, Kevin, yeah. Arrow Flash. That's right. Kevin got this for $1. That's the last Sega Genesis game. He got this on Sunday. I think he said that was another shmup that he wanted to go through. Okay. How many Dreamcast games did he end up picking up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 Dreamcast games that he ended up picking up the last day. Some of them are just like kind of just to pick up for the numbers, I think. He got Razor. I don't think he really intended on playing that. Chicken Run. I think he did say he wanted to play, this is Red Dog. Looks like some sort of driving plane game. I don't know. As commander of the Red Dog assault vehicle, your job is to get rid of people. Oh, get rid of our people of the new aggressive hack forces. Okay. Bang Gunship Leap. I know he was interested in playing that one. And he was pretty excited about finding this one. Apparently this is uncommon, and a lot of people are having a hard time finding this one. NBA Hoops says Shaq on it from the Lakers. And he was pretty excited about finding this. And considering it's a sports game, it was pretty uncommon. It's pretty cool. Resident Evil Nemesis. I think he was trying to round out his Resident Evil collection, and this is one he didn't have. Resident Evil 3, Nemesis, and let's see, Gundam Side Story. I don't know much about this one. I've actually never even seen that one, but granted, keep in mind, Kevin did not pay these prices that you're seeing on here. TNN Hardcore, another off-road racing game. 4x4 EVO, another racing game. Picked up quite a few of these. It's hard finding Dreamcast games, and whenever you find them in a mass amount and you can buy them at a really good deal, it's always the best to go ahead and just go ahead and pick them up. I actually did the same thing that last Sunday. I picked up probably about 40 Dreamcast games for the store. Half of them already sold. But back to what Kevin had gotten. Speed Devils. Picked that guy up. And then he got 2 copies of King of Fighters. Nope. I guess he got just one. King of Fighters for Dreamcast. Worms World Party. Oh yeah, he did get 2 King of Fighters. He's got King of Fighters Dream Match 1999 and King of Fighters Evolution. I thought he had 2 of them in there. And Who Wants to Beat Up a Millionaire, which just sounds really fun. So I might maybe just do this on a game night at the store. That sounds pretty hilarious. And then last but not least, Rainbow Six Rogue Spear. Oop, into the camera, Dustin, into the camera. So those are his Dreamcast games that he picked up. Let's see here. And a couple more games that he got. He got Metal Slug 7 for DS. And 3 Wii games. He just got the Wii not too long ago, so he's trying to pick up some more games. Dead Rising, Jet Bro Safari. I'm not quite sure why he got this, but I mean, it's definitely a safari game. You can see you're riding around in vehicles. Looks like you got a camera in your hands. That's pretty fun. And Red Steel 2. He had told me that he had played Red Steel 1, and he'd pick it up 2 just to go ahead and play through it, or something along those lines. I may have been confusing that, but we did actually record 2 podcasts while we were there. We recorded, for day 1 that we were there, and for day 2, and those were on Kevin's camera. So if I can get my hands on his camera, then chances are I'll release those as just kind of bonus episodes to the Video Game Rescue. And as I stated at the beginning, this is going to be the last Video Game Rescue podcast because you can't replace Kevin. I'll get in a little bit more of that in a little bit, but I guess we'll go ahead and kind of explain what we did at Midwest Gaming Classic. Obviously, the first day we went straight to the vendors and started buying things, and that's always the fun part, is finding games to add to the collection. But we covered the Hybrican announcement of the Retron 5, where they're going to be saying that it's going to be out in the next 30 days, which you can see that on our YouTube channel. We also covered them talking about the new system, or the X86, I do believe, Retron X86. And if I'm incorrect on that, I do apologize. Still pretty early for me. But Kevin was really excited about just being there in general. He he recorded everything, and then whenever we did the interview, we interviewed the guys from Hyperkin after the announcement of the new system, and Kevin was like, "Oh well, I interviewed him last time. This time it's your turn to interview him. That's why I was in front of the camera interviewing him, and you could see that." And it's a shame I didn't get any video footage of Kevin. I think the only video footage that I've been able to get my hands on quite now was when we were on Guys, Games, and Beer. That we were on their podcast on Saturday. And we're at the end. We show up just like last year at the end of their podcast and kind of close it out for them. And if you want to just see that, you can go to our channel at youtube.com/videogamerescue, and you'll see Kevin's last appearance on Guys, Games, and Beer. They were kind enough to send me the file over to put it on our channel of just us being on there, and we talked about some of the things we picked up and some of our adventures at Midwest Gaming Classic. Um, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get the camera and pass on those video files. It's not going to be anytime soon, unfortunately. It's going to probably be um, probably about 2 months before you'll be able to see that. And it's like I said, it's been a while since uh, was behind the camera and really told everyone about this. I did share it on social media, but it was it's been rough. It's crazy seeing one of your really good friends hours beforehand, and then a couple hours later, I get a tweet saying Kevin's passed away. And I'm like, that's not funny. Whenever someone was tweet that to you, one of your friends, But then again, that was the only way they knew to get a hold of me. So Kevin flew back on Sunday, and I drove back to Chicago to my friend's house. And Kevin flew back to Las Vegas, and he unfortunately he had a heart attack when he got back and passed away. I'm not going to go into any more details than that, but you know, Kevin was a very dear friend of mine, and it's a shame that we're going to be leave the podcast like this. Will I do another podcast? Probably, but it's not fair to do Video Game Rescue when Kevin was such an integral part of the show and really, excuse me, Kevin was such an integral part of the show. It's Kevin was a good friend, and he's definitely going to be missed. Excuse me. So yeah, I'll continue to have the videos up on the YouTube page. I'll continue to have all his reviews from Smush Central up there. I don't know why anybody would want to take those down, but if you would like to hear Kevin's voice or see him again, you can always see our videos up on YouTube. Will I continue to do videos? I've been saying for a while that I've wanted to do them, and this is, I guess, more of a reason to get really into it, because it's I'm not going to be doing the podcast anymore. So the time that I'm going to be committing to the podcast, I definitely could be committing to doing more videos. And I've already played through the first game that I wanted to do on my return of Budget Gamer was Uncharted. And I'm about 90% through it right now. I think I've got about one chapter left, maybe two, and I'm getting through that right now. And then I'll probably do another Budget Gamer. And I think what we're going to start doing is maybe just a couple random videos from the store, maybe some store walkthroughs and stuff like that, and we'll that'll be some of the videos that you get from us, and until I can really come up with another show idea and start doing it on a regular basis. I don't think it won't necessarily be about strictly video games. It might be about the video game, my store. Maybe it'll be about some of the things I sell, like toys and memorabilia and all that other stuff. But that's to come in the future. I don't want to rush into anything, and that's why I didn't rush into this podcast, because it was so hard talking about it, because I had to talk about it so much to begin with, and tell people and spread the word. And we, after he passed, we actually did a game-a-thon at the store on Saturday. We did a charity drive to help the family pay for his funeral arrangements and such, in which we raised a considerable amount, and I'm very happy that we were able to send our friend off in such a great way. And if you donated to the GoFundMe page, or if you bought raffle tickets, or you showed up for the game-a-thon, thank you so much. I mean, it's just it's a terrible thing to have to go through, and it really helps when there's a community behind you helping you, through this. And it's been thank you to everybody that helped that. From his family, they've all said their thank yous. They can't thank you enough for helping with this and being there, and all the the kind words. We've got cards. Some people send in games to help pay for Kevin's Kevin to be taken care of. And so it's been a really, really rough 2-3 weeks. After we got back, it was it's such joy leaving Midwest Gaming Classic and having such a fun time to coming just from the absolute high to just the absolute low in just less than 24 hours was intense. And then after I got back, I was terribly ill when I got back. I ended up getting bronchitis, and man, it was bad. I was rough. People that saw me at the store like, you don't look good, and yeah, I was down for several days. I'm still, you probably maybe was hearing in my voice still. I'm still congested a bit. I still can't hear out of my left ear, which is a bit of an issue. It's kind of weird because I have my headset on and I can't hear anything. So why do I even have it on? You know, it's a habit. It's a habit from having Kevin on the show and hearing somebody else talk back to me. Just put on the headset. But so Kevin's been taken care of. His family had a funeral for him and all that good stuff, and it's sad to say goodbye, and it's always hard saying goodbye, not only to a friend but down to a show. And I'm sorry for everybody out there that really enjoyed the show. I thank you, everyone that's actually listened to the show. Someone, thank you for taking the time and listen to us babble on about video games. That was something that we would have done anyways. And it just happened. We happened to be recording it. At times we tried to take it more seriously. At times we didn't. You could tell. But regardless, we enjoyed doing it, and that's what matters. But let's see. I don't know what else to talk about. I could talk about maybe a couple other things that I added to my collection while I was in Chicago, Midwest Gaming Classic. One of the other things that I got while I was up in Chicago was a not for resale copy of Contra 3 on Super Nintendo. So I think what I'm going to be concentrating on probably in my collection is probably just some of the oddball items that are kind of just weird, and my bonk stuff. I'm really going to be going after my bonk stuff. I picked these two guys up at Midwest Gaming Classic as well. That's Bonk 2 for Super Nintendo and the original Bonk on Famicom. And I actually picked up, where is it? Here it is. The Bonk collection on PS2. So I have to get a modded PS2 for this, but that shouldn't be a problem. So definitely want to play it because there's going to be some games in here I'm not going to be able to afford for a while because like Bonk 3 is rather expensive, and it may be a little while before I can afford to pick that guy up and add it to the collection. I guess that's probably it. Again, thank you everybody that's watched the podcast. It's been a pleasure doing the podcast for this past year and a half, 2 years. I'll be back. Let's continue. The audio form probably won't continue, but the video I'll probably do these Google Plus Hangouts. I do enjoy doing these, and it kind of reminds me of doing the podcast with Kevin. So I want to thank everybody that's watched the podcast. Again, I know I've already said that like 3 times, but I guess as always, remember to bring an old friend back to life, and see you guys next time. Thanks. Goodbye.